Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chishu Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Asked my husband why men feel attacked in simple conversations. Let's get it.
So anyway, Miley wouldn't let us be great, but the conversation was had about Michael feeling like he was being attacked. To me, a man being attacked is talking about his character, hitting below the belt, talking about his shortcomings. But it seems like men these days, I don't know if they grow up and their mothers tell them they're the greatest things since sliced bread, but like if you have one concern, ours was, hey babe, I want you to sometimes check on my mental health. I'm pregnant. I have a toddler. I know you think it's all good all the time, but it's not. So sometimes make sure I'm okay. Michael lives in the clouds, which is great because he's mostly optimistic and he's in his bubble. But sometimes I need him to come out of his bubble and check on everyone else. And he was like, I feel like I'm being attacked. And I was like, what? How does me voicing a concern about how I feel in the relationship and how just sometimes I want you to see that I'm good, what about that is saying you're a bad person? And so it just seems like men can't handle criticism. Like, do their mothers just tell them they're the greatest things and like they don't grow up with constructive criticism, or I don't know. But I just think having an adult conversation about, checking up on how someone's doing in a relationship is not the same thing as being attacked. And it seems like that word is thrown around a lot. But I don't know. I mean, it's just something to talk about.
All right, something to talk about. So we're going to talk about it. We've got a wife here who says it. Her husband felt attacked when she addressed the fact that she'd like him to check up on her mental state more. She said, it might seem like I'm good, but that's not always the case. And he felt attacked. Let's read these comments and see what people had to say in response to what this wife said in this video. First comment reads, I would ask him what he heard you say. Sometimes when I speak to my husband, he translates what I said completely different than what I said or meant. Next comment from a gentleman says, men need peace too. Appreciate him first and ask for what he needs. Maybe you don't know how to speak to him. Another woman responded to that guy and said, living in the clouds. Sounds like he lives in peace all the time. For that to happen to someone, his wife is obviously taking care of him. And another woman says, hush, you listened to her and still made it her fault. This is why relationships aren't lasting and people don't date. Exhausting. Next, another woman added to this conversation and said, sometimes what we say and what we hear are completely different. You said, check on me. He heard, you don't care about me. Do better. I think that's a pretty good point right there. And finally, the last comment here reads, I'm tired of having the conversation I checked out because I feel I talk to myself and I hate feeling like it's an issue with expressing how I feel. From what I've heard so far from the wife talking, it seems like she may be going through some emotional, mental issues. We all have our moments. We all have situations. And sometimes you just never know. Sometimes you can never tell because some people are better at hiding their mental issues or emotional issues and what's going on inside. But I do want to say this. I think it's important that before people enter a relationship, they understand that it's not the other person's responsibility to play your therapist. Now, what I'm not saying is this. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be communication, open communication about what's going on. I'm not saying that a partner shouldn't check on you once in a while and see how you're doing. That's okay. And if that's his struggle, then of course, that's something he needs to work on. We all want somebody in relationships who's going to check up on us and talk to us. Even men appreciate that once in a while. How you doing, babe? I'm doing good, whatever, right? But I do want to say that in a lot of situations, it can border you expecting your husband or that man to be your actual therapist. Right? And that's just not simply possible. A lot of people in those situations might need more professional help than maybe their husband or their partner can give them. But she said something else that I really want to talk about too. She said, men don't like criticism. Okay, let's say I agree with that, right? Let's say that is true. And the example she gave was, do these women's mothers just tell them that they're the best thing since sliced bread? You can't tell them that they're doing something wrong? Do these women's mothers just elevate them to a place where no one can tell them nothing? Well, in most cases, these men were raised up by single mothers. And if they're raised up by single mothers, then of course the mother is going to do that. Mothers are supposed to make their sons feel special, right? Where fathers are more of that disciplinarian force in that man's life. So it makes sense that there are a lot of men out here today who don't know how to handle challenge or being criticized and taking a step back. And maybe that's something a lot of men need to work on. Listen, guys, thought this was a really interesting conversation. I'm curious, as always, to know what you guys thought of the topic. Comment your opinion down below. What would you advise this wife to do? What is your opinion about this topic? As always, I appreciate you for checking out another episode of The Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.